everyone, on this wonderful Friday, and after a one-week hiatus, it is once again time to go over all of the headlines that came out of the NFC North division this past week. It is time for the return of Weekly North News. Everyone, hello. Welcome back to our normal Friday routine where we discuss the headlines that came out of the NFC North division from the past week. We took off last week for the NFL draft. We got to cover that. We got to talk about it. It was a good old fun time. But today we go back to our roots. We're going to do the traditional format where we pull one headline per team for the week and go from there. So we've got one headline per team, 4 teams. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the Green Bay Packers because I feel like they're completely deserving of the top spot this week because of the saga, the drama, the chaos, the weirdness that is surrounding the current situation in Green Bay, and that is the alleged desire for Aaron Rodgers to play for a different team or even not at all in 2021. So last week, just to preface this, Adam Schefter broke on draft day the story that Aaron Rodgers was disgruntled and wanted out of Green Bay. We had kind of known that this was sort of possibly going to be a thing for some time. I think anybody that can read body language and just, sort of read the tea leaves from team transactions and statements and all those other things sort of had the idea that this was potentially coming. Adam Schefter made it official before the first round of the NFL draft. We did a video about that where we discussed it with, I discussed it with you. I'll leave a link to that video in the comment or in the description below so that if you missed that last week, you can go check that out. I don't want to rehash that whole thing because this week, it seems that people are upset with Adam Schefter. So he goes on the Dan Patrick show. And quick aside, when I was in college, I loved listening to Dan Patrick on ESPN radio. Him and Ryan Russillo was always a good time. I enjoyed that radio programming. I remember the day that they made that program longer, and it made me happier because I had about a 45-minute commute to and from the university. So I got to enjoy Dan Patrick in the afternoon and got to enjoy Mike and Mike in the morning. It just, ESPN radio just isn't what it used to be anymore. If you were there for the glory days, it was a good time. But now I have podcasts, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But anyway, he's on the Dan Patrick show. And Dan Patrick is just kind of asking about that day, asking about the story, asking him about how this came to be. Because I guess, and I missed this, I guess that people on the internet or just in the football world were upset with Aaron Rodgers because the news broke on draft day, and they felt like he was trying to steal the spotlight and he was trying to ruin the moment for these kids, these college students that were coming into the league. It was supposed to be their night. The criticism is that he is stealing the show, stealing the spotlight. I never heard that. I honestly can't remember hearing that or seeing that or reading any Twitter comments. Now, it could have been just that I was half unplugged to the ESPN broadcast. I had it on in the background, but I was in the Score North live stream. I was in that chat for most of the night. So it could have been I just wasn't paying attention, even though I feel like that they would have mentioned it. And I didn't see it in the days afterwards because I was too focused on producing content. So maybe I just missed it, but I didn't see those criticisms. So that was part of it. And then the questioning leads into how Adam Schefter broke the story. And apparently he admits that he had no source for the story. So this is how I infer the situation. It sounds to me like Adam Schefter knew that Aaron Rodgers wanted out of Green Bay, but he didn't know definitively. He sort of heard this person say something, that person say something. And it got to a point where he felt like he just was going to break the story because it was going to get out eventually. And I think most people know that there is a desire in the journalism world to be first, to have the scoop, to have the exclusive. It is a thing. It carries a negative connotation these days, but there is a desire to be the first to report. A lot of people blame that desire on hurting accuracy. And as a former journalist myself who has a bachelor's degree in journalism, I can tell you it's a slippery slope, but you want to make sure that you have things right before you do that. If you get scooped, it is what it is. So having said all of that, I infer the situation that, Schefter kind of admits it wasn't one person, it wasn't a source that told him this. And the problem with saying that out loud is that in print and in the tweet, he said a week ago that per source, the final line of the tweet is that a source tells ESPN Thursday. Saying one thing a week ago and then saying another thing today sort of, muddies the waters. And I think he's done himself a disservice by doing this. Now, the fallout from this is twofold. Number one, obviously this is going to be, easy red meat for people who don't like Adam Schefter, don't like ESPN, or just hate journalism in general. There's plenty of them, in this day and age where that's just a whole thing. It's fair to criticize journalism and reporting and all of that stuff, but just to constantly throw it under one broad umbrella of corruption and bull crap, for lack of a better term, I think is disingenuous and a little bit irresponsible. Also, what this does, the second part of this, is it makes it seem like that either Aaron Rodgers camp or Green Bay's camp, somebody in the organization, is sort of using Schefter as like a useful idiot, if that makes sense. He's a conduit, or like somebody that you can easily use as a scapegoat to put out information and muddy the waters intentionally. Now, is that what happened? I don't know, but I kind of speculate that that's potentially what's going on here with this. You get somebody like Adam Schefter, who is allegedly glued into the league or whatever. I think Woj with the NBA is way better than Schefter, and Schefter isn't my go-to, source for anything, even though it's kind of funny. Later in the video, I'm going to use one of his tweets as a screen cap for information. He's good about, putting out contracts and trades and all that kind of other stuff. But when it's real internal struggles and schisms, I wouldn't go to him. What I would do, my advice to people as a journalist, as somebody with a journalism background, is follow local reporters, follow beat writers, follow people who are 24/7 connected to this team. Adam does the NFL. He does the league. He doesn't do one team all the time. Beat writers, local reporters will do one team 24/7. That's their focus. He's responsible for all 32. That's too much. And stay away from 24/7, news anchors as it is. And most of those people are what you get with ESPN. So that is my take on that whole situation. Very odd last couple of days with all that. Moving on to the Chicago Bears, I'm going to give them the second headline of the day. They have picked up the 5th-year option on linebacker Roquan Smith, which makes a ton of sense. Guy's been great since he got into the league. Almost broke the rookie tackle record for the Bears. If I remember correctly, he was just a few shy of the Brian Urlacher record that was set a long time ago. Urlacher record, say that 5 times fast. So not really too much, meat and potatoes to the story, other than just the fact that they picked up the 5th-year option, but it makes a ton of sense. I think that the Bears fans are pretty excited with the offseason, even though they started in a pretty dark spot, right? They started with Andy Dalton and losing Kyle Fuller and who knows what else that I missed. But I think Justin Fields makes up for a lot of that. So Bears fans got to be feeling good about themselves this week. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and it's not a Vikings player or a Vikings person that is leading this story. It is Stefon Diggs. And once again, Stefon Diggs has gone to social media to throw some shade at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this all comes about because the Bills GM, who I believe his name is Brandon Beane, if I got that right, was talking about the Stefon Diggs trade because a couple draft picks from this year's trade for the Vikings were from the Bills from that original trade. So he basically said, yeah, the draft is over. I'm done paying for the Stefon Diggs trade. I don't have any more draft capital sewed up in that. So he was like, I'm thrilled with it. And Diggs got in on a retweet and said, and I'm paraphrasing, that without Brandon Beane, he would still be in soda. He called it soda, which, okay. So Stefon Diggs clearly is, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if it's like a head rent free situation, but clearly he's very happy to be out of Minnesota and he wants everybody to know about it. I have no ill will towards the guy. I want him to be successful. I enjoyed his season last year. I'm a big Josh Allen fan, big fan of Stefon Diggs. We'll always have the Minneapolis Miracle. It's just, I kind of wish he just wouldn't do this stuff, but it does give me something to talk about. So thank you for the content, Stefon Diggs. We're going to wrap things up with the Detroit Lions. We could go with the Frank Ragnow story, making him the highest paid center in the league. Yeah, that's too easy. We're going to talk about Kerryon Johnson. So earlier in the week, they waived Kerryon Johnson, and I was kind of surprised, but I guess not really. Once you have Jamal Williams in the building and you already have DeAndre Swift, and he's had some injury concerns. It makes sense, right? It makes sense once you look at it at a broader scope. But what makes it even more interesting is before I went to hit record on this video, the Eagles claimed him. Here's the Adam Schefter tweet I mentioned, foreshadowing. The Eagles have claimed him, so now a lot of fans are like, "Whoa, we can't just give Miles Sanders the main duty of the running backs. Just what the hell? We're bringing in another guy to take away touches from Miles Sanders." But I just thought it was interesting. Kerryon Johnson was a second-round pick. I had high hopes for him when he came out of college. When he was drafted, I thought he could, bring the running game of Detroit back to some semblance of normalcy, whatever that is that, it may be. But, Detroit, I think since Barry Sanders has just been cursed at the running back position. I remember a long time ago, Javid Best was a guy, I forget where he went to college, but Javid Best was a running back. I think he wore 44, was a running back who I thought could definitely be something in the NFL, and then he ends up not panning out. I think he had injury problems as well, but I'm excited for DeAndre Swift. I enjoy DeAndre Swift, the Detroit Lions as a franchise as a whole, but the Kerryon Johnson thing just didn't work out, and he will now be with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021. That's going to do it. Those are the 4 headlines that I picked out for each team this week, plus a few personal anecdotes. Let me know what you think in the comments below about all of these situations. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.